Professor Ronni Gamzu, thank you for joining us again on i24 News. To begin, do you agree with some of your colleagues that the Omicron wave has peaked and that hopefully then the number of serious cases won't reach the point where they're too much of a strain on hospitals?
It seems so. We have some indication that we are over the peak, but we have to be cautious on our predictions. But in any case, I believe the hospitals in Israel are taking care of that. They are really not overwhelmed by the number of cases, general corona or severe cases. We are handling that. We are not even reaching half of our capacity. So everything is under control and we are doing fine. And I believe that indeed we are maybe over the peak, but still we have to go and wait and see whether we have another peak. It is still unpredictable in 100%.
Unpredictable, but there is growing debate about whether the current situation, especially some over 500,000 perhaps infected already, maybe past the peak of the Omicron, that Israel should scrap the green pass system. What's your view on that?
I believe that the green pass system hasn't now at that time and now place an effective result, and we should take it away for the time being. This is not the time for a green pass. The contribution of the green pass is really not valuable at that time. We have to, of course, adapt our way of activity, letting the whole country still be active in all the civilian operation in the country. And indeed, Green Pass is out now, in my opinion.
And your view on the situation in the world. We heard Albert Bourla from Pfizer say he believes perhaps the Omicron and even the current wave of coronavirus has now peaked globally, and we have to start looking a little beyond that. Your view?
My view is the Omicron is really peaking in countries in a very diverse and different way. We see countries that there were a peak, there was a reduction, and then another peak. So worldwide, we are around the peak of the Omicron wave. We have to look ahead, but mainly what the world is doing in many places is continuing life. We are seeing really that the lockdowns are not working. Government understands that, and the real active way to handle the epidemic now is vaccination, boostering our people, and adapting our way to continue with life. And this is the main message that the Omicron really radiates. It's a kind of a variant that is very transmissible, very infective, however, not a severe disease. Some of the people look at that as kind of the end of the epidemic, the beginning of the end of the epidemic. Still, we have to wait and see. But this is what's happening now around the world.
Well, you mentioned vaccinations and boosters. There's a new report out today from the health ministry that suggests that second booster shot, that fourth shot, is actually perhaps a little more effective than some of the early indications. Threefold protection against serious disease, twofold infection. Does Israel have to be a little maybe more aggressive in pushing it for over 60 and now start considering whether to make it available to the general population?
Indeed, in my hospital, in the Tel Aviv Medical Center, we've seen the same results. It protects not only from severe disease, but also from infection. And I believe that we can widen and make the second booster available for many people with chronic diseases, 50 years of age and above. It's really effective, and you know what? The same happened with the first booster. Still, we were not sure, but then again, the results and the way that it protected many of our population allow us to, to go around the fourth wave. And now we have to do the same with the second booster. And I believe we will see second booster in many other countries around the world. But this is another tool that we have to take in order to lower the number of infection and the number of severe cases of corona.
And speaking of vaccination and looking ahead, Albert Bourla also suggested that Pfizer will soon be able to develop a vaccine that would last a period of at least a year. But that would mean annual, yearly vaccinations. Is the Israeli health system ready for that? Should it start preparing for that, which would be a big change in the lives of people?
Absolutely, we are ready for that. We have a nation, a country with a culture of vaccination. People really understand the scientific and health benefit of that. And I'm saying that to the rest of the world, countries around the world. Really, the vaccination against corona were a game changer in the pandemic. And we must acknowledge that. Yes, there's supposed to be a situation that we will take the vaccine annually. This is no problem. We are used to do that with influenza, with many people around Israel and around the world. Yes, you know what? This is the way to go with viral diseases. Of course, when they have an epidemic dynamic, but also in an endemic dynamic. This is the way to go to vaccinate your population, reach 60, 70%, mainly for the population at risk. And I believe this is the modern way of handling diseases and viral diseases.
Very briefly, Professor Gamzu, are we looking perhaps for a normal summer for Israelis and many others as well?
I would say even before summer, normal springtime is ahead, and I believe that we will be over the fifth wave, not only in Israel, but many other places around the world. The Omicron is a variant that challenged us, but there are good things about it because the huge spread of it allowed us to have some kind of a herd immunity, natural herd immunity. Adding to that, the vaccination. Right. Yes, go ahead. Spring and summertime, in my view, are going to be normal.
Right. Springtime is coming. Professor Ronni Gamzu, thanks for joining us.
Thank you all.